crossover between Clavicular and Brett Cooper was not on my 2026 bingo card, but here we are. So, the last time that we issued an update on Clavicular was after he got arrested, and he was charged with 2 felonies.
Crazy.
Somehow, inexplicably, he was spared of charges. They dropped the charges because, according to the police, they felt like they couldn't get a conviction on him, which is insane considering the fact that he streams and records literally everything he does.
Yep.
So you have
Word.
all the evidence you need.
Word.
Some people think that he skirted justice because if you mob, you can just get away with anything. And what immediately
Delusional.
was a trip to New York City, which, had the charges not been dropped, he would not be able to do. So he showed up in New York for Fashion Week because he was slated to appear in a fashion show by designer Elena Velez. And that is relevant because Elena Velez is a somewhat controversial figure in the fashion world.
I've never heard of this person.
Post-woke. Some people believe that
Velez.
Fashion show by designer Elena Velez. And that is relevant because Elena Velez is a somewhat controversial figure in the fashion world who has been called herself.
Why do people see her as controversial?
Some people believe that she, I know, right? Like, it's just such an eye roll.
Let me know in the comments if y'all know.
Stands against woke orthodoxy in the fashion and art world. I have no idea why that may be. She's part of the associated with certain controversial podcasters like the hosts of Red Scare, and you basically understand the milieu where it would make sense to put someone like Clavicular in your fashion show.
It's the internet dark web, or it's the intellectual dark web of the fashion industry.
Yeah, the intellectual dork web. So that is why Clavicular made his debut as a fashion model that night. And they captioned this clip, Clavicular debuted his first ever fashion show and established Chad supremacy. Now, in a static photo, it would have been one thing, but you can really tell that what people mean when they say that Clavicular is a body cell or a gait cell, because you can never really mog with your walk and your posture. Like, he still walks.
For those who don't know what's mog, the word mog, M-O-G means to surpass another person in beauty, in physical beauty, in aesthetic beauty, in outer, in physical attractiveness. That is the definition of mog, M-O-G.
Like, he has very little self-confidence and self-assuredness. You can tell there's some deep insecurity there because
arms
always detectable.
Stuck at his side.
Yeah, but maybe he was instructed to walk.
To surpass another person in facial beauty. To surpass another person in facial beauty. To mock means to surpass another person in facial beauty.
People mean when they say the clavicular is a body cell or a gait cell, because you can never really mog with your walk and your posture. Like, he still walks like he has very little self-confidence and self-assuredness. You can tell there's some deep insecurity there because
arms
always detectable.
Stuck at his side.
Yeah, but maybe he was instructed to walk very
Who knows? Possible, but
need like a male
what Mary is saying could be valid.
To walk very awkwardly. I have no idea.
He doesn't need like a male model. He needs, in the chat we'll know what I'm talking about. He needs
to walk very awkwardly. I have no idea.
He doesn't need like
detectable.
Stuck at his side.
Yeah, but maybe he was instructed to walk very awkwardly. I have no idea.
He doesn't need like a male model. He needs, in the chat we'll know what I'm talking about. He needs Stone Cold Steve Austin to teach him how to walk, because Stone Cold Steve Austin knew how to walk to the ring like a badass.
Yeah.
Clavicular could absolutely use someone to teach him how to,
Yes.
I don't know, badass match.
The legendary
Here's a
6-time
take on his
WWF
debut.
champion,
He's an idiot for
Stone
doing
Cold
this. He should have
Steve
gotten an
Austin.
agent, 'cause I would have
And
negotiated
that's
a deal
the
with
bottom
Dolce &
line, because
Gabbana.
Stone Cold
Like, he should
said
open
so.
a show at least.
Give me a,
Use
yeah.
someone to teach him how to, I don't know, badass match. He needs Stone Cold Steve Austin to teach him how to walk.
I'm gonna
Because
open
Stone
up
Cold
a
Steve
can of
Austin
whoop.
knew
Hey,
how to walk to the ring like a badass.
I don't curse,
Could
so
absolutely use someone to teach him how to, I don't know, badass Max somehow.
Here's a take on his debut.
word.
It's detectable.
Stuck in his side.
Yeah, but maybe he was instructed to walk very awkwardly. I have no idea.
He doesn't need like a male model. He needs, in the chat we'll know what I'm talking about. He needs Stone Cold Steve Austin to teach him how to walk.
Give me a
Stone
heck
Cold
yeah.
Steve Austin knew how to walk to the ring like a badass.
Austin
He
316.
could absolutely use someone to teach him how to, I don't know, badass Max somehow.
Here's a take on his debut. They said he's an idiot for doing this. He should have gotten an agent, because I would have negotiated a deal with Dolce & Gabbana. Like, he should open a show at least, even shoot for exclusive, and get him on ready-to-wear campaigns, definitely fragrance and eyewear. But he blew his debut on New York Fashion Week and Elena Velez. No offense. So some people merely take issue with this being such a low clout opportunity. But after he finished his debut on the runway, he went backstage and met some fellow E-celebs, including Brett Cooper and another one in the clip who is the owner of EV Magazine, Brittany Hugeboom. She was in the clip as well, but not many people are pointing that out. I was just distracted by it the whole time because I know her. There was also
Can you play the clip? Does it matter?
Yeah, let's watch the clip.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, yeah, okay. And Brett, if you want to say hi to Brett.
Brett, what's up? How are you? Amazing. Thanks for coming.
Good job.
You thought it was good? Okay.
Hi. Hello. Oh, what up, Lou? Hi.
She totally mobbed him. She was so much more excited to meet the girl.
I know, right?
Oh, I'm Liz. Nice to meet you. Oh, I'm Liz. Nice to meet you.
She totally mobbed him.
Oh, what up, Lou? Hi.
She totally mobbed him. She was so much more excited to meet the girl.
I know, right?
Oh, I'm Liz. Nice to meet you.
Okay.
This just looks like the worst thing I would rather die than go through whatever the hell I'm just watching.
Crazy. Torture. Crazy.
Okay, back to what we were talking about.
All right. So, in this clip, they shake hands
Yep.
and say
Word.
hello, and Clavicular asks Brett if he did good in the runway show, to which she says, and I think this is quite revealing, it was a good show.
Yep.
Like, she didn't compliment him. She complimented the show.
Running back.
Yeah, let's watch the clip.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, yeah, okay. And Brett, if you want to say hi to Brett.
Brett, what's up? How are you? Amazing. Thanks for coming.
Good job.
You thought it was good?
She told him good job. So it would be safe to say that she is complimenting him when she says good job, but she didn't say you are doing a good job. She just said good job. Yeah.
This influencer named Liv Schmidt,
But she wasn't.
which I also think is telling.
Who is the other lady?
She was far more enthusiastic about meeting Liv compared to Clavicular. Now, additional context, merely
But Brett
days
wasn't
before this
super.
happened, Clavicular on his stream publicly said something very
She wasn't
disgusting
as
and vulgar
excited
about
to
Brett
see him
Cooper.
as she was
And
to
I don't
see
really even wanna
the
repeat
chick,
what he said
her
word
friend,
for
her
word,
female
but
friend.
It was incredibly graphic. She was featured in the show as well. But Liv Schmidt, we've talked about her on the show before because this influencer named Liv Schmidt, Clavicular asks Brett if he did good in the runway show, to which she says, and I think this is quite revealing, it was a good show. Like,
She did say it was a good show.
She complimented the
too.
show. And then she, as soon as she shakes his hand, backs away like 5 feet immediately. And then resumes a side conversation that she was having with someone else. And then this influencer named Liv Schmidt comes up and she meets Liv and is visibly far more excited to meet this other influencer.
Clearly, evidently.
To her reaction to meeting Clavicular, which I also think is telling.
Who is the other lady?
Is visibly far more excited to meet this other influencer compared to her reaction to meeting Clavicular, which I also think is telling.
Who is the other lady?
Liv Schmidt. We've talked about.
I've never heard of Liv either.
This skinny influencer. She runs this thing called the Skinny Society, where she coaches women on how to lose weight. And,
salute.
She was
Big
featured
ups.
in the show as well, but they're mutuals, so you saw Brett meet her as well, and she was far more enthusiastic about meeting Liv compared to Clavicular. Now, additional context, merely days before this happened, Clavicular on his stream publicly said something very disgusting and vulgar about Brett Cooper.
Crazy.
And I don't really even want to repeat
certain people say it was a joke. He was joking.
It was incredibly
it could have been a joke. But even if it was a joke, it was still crazy. It was still wild. Impudent.
To both her and her husband. You
Indecorous.
can probably gather what I mean by that.
Denigrating.
Additional context. Merely days before this happened, Clavicular
Denigrative.
publicly said something very disgusting
Nasty.
and vulgar about Brett Cooper.
Indecorous. All the way.
I don't really even want to repeat what he said word for word, but it was incredibly graphic.
Yeah, he said
very disgusting and disrespectful to both her and her husband. You can probably
he was
gather
saying
what I mean by
stuff
that.
pertaining
And
to her
I have no idea
butthole.
if she
Yeah.
was made aware of
He
that
called
before
her
meeting
husband
him,
a
or,
cuck and
maybe she
a
didn't know
loser.
about it and just
A
tried to
loser.
not address it and put it
Yeah,
off
Clav,
and
he
so
was
on.
bugging
And both of those
all the way. He
explanations
was
would make
bugging.
perfect sense to me, because what are you gonna do? Like, start an on-camera confrontation with somebody while that and play it off and be polite. Start an on-camera confrontation with somebody and play it off and be polite. And both of respectful to both her and her husband. It's incredibly graphic and very disgusting and disrespectful to both her and her husband.
Yes.
It's incredibly graphic and very and I don't really even want to repeat what he said.
Yeah, he was bugging all the way.
Incredibly graphic and very disgusting and
Agreed.
disrespectful to both her and her husband. You can probably gather what I mean by that. And I have no idea if she was made aware of that before
Who
meeting
knows?
him.
Possibly.
Or, maybe she did know about it and just tried to not address it and play it off and be polite. And both of those explanations would make perfect sense to me, because what are you going to do? Like, start an on-camera confrontation with somebody?
It's
while
what to be
thousands of people
stupid.
are watching the live stream? That would just make everything worse.
Yep.
No,
So I understand
it's
why
exactly
she
what
wouldn't.
he would want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
True.
It would just be content for him.
Yep.
For her to, give him more attention than he deserves. But overall, the impression I got from this is that Brett Cooper very clearly dissed him as soon as she saw him in the room. And nobody else appears to be interpreting it that way. Everyone else is making these wild claims.
Assumptions.
She's in love with
Presuppositions.
him, she's enamored with him, she's making the eyes at him.
So
They're bugging. They are
You guys saw the
misunderstanding,
Let me put it back up here.
misinterpreting.
It is actually important to understand just how important framing.
Nobody else appears to be interpreting it that way. Everyone else is making these wild claims
Yep.
about how she's in love with him, she's enamored with him, she's making the eyes at him.
So, guys,
and
I want to point out, you guys saw the
Crazy.
video, and then let me put it back up here, because it is actually important to understand just how important framing is on the
Yeah,
internet.
just because a chick is smiling, just because a chick smiles at a dude, this doesn't mean she is romantically attracted to this dude. Yo, certain people certain people they trip, yo. They say dumb stuff, bro. They say this nonsense because they never interacted. They never interacted with women before, so yeah. They are going to say crazy-ish like the stuff they are saying in response to this whole situation. Crazy.
She's in love with him. She's enamored with him. She's making the eyes at him.
So, guys, I want to point out, you guys saw the video, and then let me put it back up here because it is actually important to understand just how important framing is on the internet, and the people who are the best.
She's in love with him. She's enamored with him. She's making the eyes
delusional.
at him.
So
Deluded.
I want to point out, you guys saw the video, and then let me put it back up here because it is actually important to understand just how important framing is on the internet, and the people who are the best at making you angry for the sake of a buck are the ones who know how to frame something in a way that will get a reaction. So
engagement bait.
For you guys, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but just the beginning.
Engagement bait is the word.
Brett, what's up? How are you? Amazing. Thanks
Okay.
for coming.
Good job. That's what she says. Now let's look at the post that this person shared, where it says, conservative podcaster Brett Cooper flew out to NYC Fashion Week to meet Clavicular.
Nah.
This is her face when she
Lies.
met him.
Cap.
She's married. Bros, if you think you're
Yeah,
safe
Brett
because
made
you got
a
ring
video
on your
in
girl's finger,
a response video. She made a response video to this, to the criticism, the
conservative podcaster Brett
the
Cooper
the
flew out
negative
to NYC
comments
Fashion Week
on
to
X.
meet Clavicular. This is her face when she met him.
She didn't go to meet Clav. She was invited by her friends.
Thanks for
Okay.
coming.
Good job.
And she said her
Now
husband,
let's look at the
or
post
did
that this
she
person
say
shared,
somebody
where
said
it
her
says,
husband
conservative
and
podcaster Brett
her
Cooper flew out
her
to
son
NYC
were there
Fashion Week
with her,
to
so
meet Clavicular.
yeah,
This is
people
her
people
face
have
when
to
she
chill,
met him.
yo.
She's married. Bros, if you this clip again for you guys, we're not gonna watch the whole thing, but just the beginning.
Certain people said she was
Brett,
doing her husband dirty.
Okay.
She
Good
was
job.
romantically
That's what she says.
interested
Now let's
in
look at
Clav.
the
Nah,
post
bro.
that
Nah.
this person shared,
Nah.
where it says
She was just being
what's up? How are you?
civil. She was just
good
being
job.
a civilized
Now
person.
let's look at the
That is
post
it.
that this person shared, where it
There was
says,
no there was
conservative
no
podcaster
romantic
Brett Cooper flew out
interest.
to NYC Fashion Week. Conservative podcaster Brett. This clip again for you guys. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but just the beginning where she meets him.
The people who made mendacious remarks pertaining to Brett should be ashamed of themselves,
Good
yo.
job. That's
The
what she
people
says.
who made
Now let's
mendacious
look at the
remarks
post
pertaining
that this
to
person
Brett
shared, where
should
it says,
be
conservative
ashamed
podcaster
of
Brett
themselves,
Cooper flew
yo.
out to NYC Fashion Week to meet Clavicular.
Brett, what's up? How are you? Amazing. Thanks for
Okay.
coming.
Good job. That's what she says. Now let's look at the post that this person shared, where it says, conservative podcaster Brett Cooper flew out to NYC Fashion Week to meet Clavicular. This is her face when she met him. She's married. Bros, if you think you're safe because you got a ring on your girl's finger,
Goofy, this
you need to
dude,
wake up.
this person,
This is
West
why the
Side,
internet is this is her face
corny.
when she met him.
This
She's
person
married.
is corny.
Bros, if you think you're safe because you got a ring on
Lame.
your girl's finger, you need to wake up. This is why the internet is a place you can no longer trust. This is why X and all of these sites are awful now, because this is designed
Trash.
to reframe a completely innocuous
Yep.
situation
Harmless.
in a way that will drive traffic to
Yep.
your worst
Engagement
instincts.
bait.
Meaning, if you have any
Engagement
skepticism
bait.
towards women,
Yep.
especially if you're in the
Animus.
red pill space,
Hostility.
this is designed to make you angry,
Yep.
to drive traffic on
Rage bait.
Yeah, and another wild assumption that
Hate
people are
bait.
making right off the bat is that she flew to New York City purely
Just.
for the purpose of meeting
So
Clavicular.
that's what I mean
That
by
is
framing.
made up,
deceptive,
like, no evidence whatsoever
dishonest.
that is the reason
Yep.
she flew to
No
New
proof. They
York
have
City.
no proof. They
I
don't.
can
They
say,
don't care.
just
They really
based
don't
on my
care. They
knowledge,
just want
I
to
actually
cause
didn't end up going
division
to this
between
event,
the
but
two
there is an event
sexes.
that's already announced that is being held
It is
by
weird.
Magazine,
It is
which
goofy.
is run by
It
the
is
woman
detestable,
to
odious,
the left
abominable,
of Brett Cooper in this
and
photo.
to be
She obviously
reviled.
invited Brett Cooper to this
It is
TV
to be
Magazine
reviled.
event, which is taking place in my knowledge. I actually didn't end up going to this event, but there is as the reason she flew to New York City. I can say, just based on my knowledge, that is the reason she flew to New York City.
Well, that's what I
That
framing.
is completely made up.
Yep.
Like, no evidence
Drivel,
whatsoever.
rubbish,
That is the reason
cod,
she flew to
pig
New
swallow,
York City. I can say,
hot swallow,
just based on my knowledge,
bunk.
I actually didn't end up going to this event, but there is an event that's already announced that is being held by EV Magazine, which is run by the woman to the left of Brett Cooper in this photo. She obviously invited Brett Cooper to this EV Magazine event, which is taking place in conjunction with Fashion Week, hence why she's in town. So where is this
Dummies.
coming from, this wild assumption that Brett Cooper flew out to New York just to meet Clavicular? If I flew out to a different city just to meet someone, would I shake this person's hand and then immediately ignore their existence? And if somebody did that to me, where is this coming from, this wild assumption that Brett Cooper flew out to New
They're
York
brainwashed.
just to meet Clavicular? If I flew
Crazy.
out to a different city just to meet someone, would I shake this person's hand and then immediately ignore their existence? And if somebody did that to me, if I like met someone and they said, "Hi, nice to meet you," and then immediately ignored me and went to a different conversation, I would actually feel dissed by that. But people are taking this,
Yep.
running with it, and creating basically
False
fan fiction
narratives.
about these two people.
False.
They're playing with
False.
dolls,
False
essentially.
narrative.
And I thought it
False
was very obvious what was
narratives.
going on in this clip.
Yes. Yes.
Shake this person's hand and then flew out to a different city just to meet someone. Would I shake this person's hand and then immediately ignore their existence? And if somebody did that to me, if I like met someone and they said, "Hi, nice to meet you," and then immediately ignored me and went to a different conversation, I would actually feel dissed by that.
Yep.
But
Word.
people are
Same.
taking this, running with it, and creating basically fan fiction about these two
Garbage.
people. They're playing with dolls, essentially. And I thought it was very obvious what was going on in this clip. I tweeted this out earlier saying I may be reading into it too much now, but I just watched a guy get dissed and then freeze into a near catatonic state. And after their brief interaction, he literally just starts staring at the floor awkwardly because he's not getting fawned over the way he expected.
Worshipped.
And
Pedestalized.
then his way of, perhaps saving face is tweeting out a picture of him on the runway where Brett Cooper is in the background saying, "Every girl is single when you mog."
Yeah, I showed that one earlier as well, guys. Do you know what the more innocuous version of this type of framing is? It's when you see the videos that people stitch together of like somebody finding a dog, and then they have like 9 videos. Sometimes it's not even the same animal in all of the videos, and it writes a story. It's like, this dog was displaced during a hurricane, and this person who was just driving by nursed them back to health, and they put the sad song in the background, and you're being taken on a ride for something that's
played,
completely made
manipulated,
up. Literally none of it is real.
manipulated,
It's all done
duped.
to drive engagement. The internet is now fake. You cannot trust anything you read. It's
crazy.
destroyed the fun of it.
Yep.
Like, there is no reason anymore. It's over.
Crazy. Cooked.
And then once you challenge the assumption that is being made that Brett Cooper is somehow disrespecting her husband or cheating on her husband, once you challenge that take, what people immediately do is shift the goalpost and then claim, well, because she's married, she shouldn't travel without her husband. And they're basically saying that if you are not, like, as a mother, if you are not skin to skin, with
attached
your children 24/7.
every second of the day.
Basically a piece of shit mother.
That's
and
crazy.
You deserve to be dragged publicly for it.
Attacked.
And I'm sorry, it's just like from
bashed.
Seemingly pro-natalist crowd. Your perspective on this should not be that as soon as you have children, your life is over. You can never do anything without your children or husband present ever again. You can never have a social life ever again. You can never have your own hobbies or interests ever again, or else you're not trad enough. Because if that's
crazy,
really the framework, nobody is going to opt into that.
Yep.
Why would they opt into something that
they will be repelled?
That extreme.
Yeah. It is it is very unrealistic. Yes.
So I think that objection to her behavior is once again ridiculous and
absurd.
Just as soon as you say like, well,
ludicrous,
she didn't fly out to see this guy, then they say, well, she shouldn't have flown anywhere to see anybody ever because she's married. And like
goofies.
That is just patently ridiculous. That does not
agreed
with reality.
Facts.
That is not how people live their lives.
Words.
I think the point of the discussion we were having,
like Brett said, people have to touch grass, bro. Interact with people in real life.
And it came up because of the Elijah
Try it.
Discussion as well.
How people live their lives.
I think the point of the discussion we were having before the show was that in this space, for those of you who are, I guess, what you'd call conservative influencers, and it came up because of the Elijah Schaefer discussion as well, which is that you are held to a hyper...
How people live their lives.
I think the point of the discussion we were having before the show was that in this space, for those of you who are, I guess, what you'd call conservative influencers, and it came up because of the Elijah Schaefer discussion as well, which is that you are held to a hyperbolic standard because hyperbolic standards are put in place by the people who actually spout these ideas. And that is true.
The radicals.
So your people are held to an unbelievably high standard because they will proselytize and talk about their beliefs and all of these things on a soapbox that used to be, you know, reserved for, I don't know, like your worst drunk moment at a party or something when you would talk about these things. Now, if you wear your values or your principles on your sleeve, people are going to hold you to a comically high standard.
Crazy.
And in some cases, that isn't a bad thing. But I don't know if that's what I'm seeing here. That's, you know?
Right. I'd be remiss not to say that part of the reason for all of these outlandish overreactions to this clip from Clavicular stream, part of the reason for that is, of course, because of this Sarah Stock and Elijah Schaefer story. Now the assumption goes that literally every female...
I get why people are so angry, but they have to chill, yo. They really have to chill.
And goes that literally every female with an online platform is an irredeemable whore.
That's, you know?
Right. I'd be remiss not to say that part of the reason for all of these outlandish overreactions to this clip from Clavicular stream, part of the reason for that is, of course, because of the Sarah Stock and Elijah Schaefer story. Now the assumption goes that literally every female with an online platform is an irredeemable whore.
Slut. Dot.
No matter
Dottie.
what they say,
Dottie.
no matter what their behavior communicates to you as someone on the other side of the screen, it's just assumed now that literally all females who claim to be conservative are secretly
degen.
The diametric opposite of what they claim to believe in.
Yes.
Crazy.
And
it is terrible.
Not fair.
Yeah.
It really isn't fair.
Agreed.
I will say it's true of most influencers. It absolutely is true of most influencers, including on the conservative side of it.
Yes.
And you're not like completely off base to, you know, hold some of them in suspicion. But it doesn't mean that you can just
blankets the whole community
whole cloth about them
and lump all women of the conservative bent in the same category or the same box meant to say.
If you have a natural suspicion towards
it doesn't. make it doesn't make it justifiable to it doesn't mean it is justifiable to have mistrust for all women or have hatred for all women. It doesn't lead to the betterment of society. It doesn't lead to the betterment of the sexes of the it doesn't lead to unity. It doesn't lead to positive change. Yeah, it causes more division, more hate, more nastiness, more crudiness. It is a shame. It really is a shame, yo.
Influencers. It absolutely is true of most influencers, including on the conservative side of things.
Absolutely. I mean,
you're not like completely off base to, hold some of them in suspicion, but it doesn't mean that you can just completely
paint with a broad brush the whole community.
And what's going on behind
it is wrong.
This right here.
It is wrong.
Test, and you just see into it whatever it is you want. So if you have a natural suspicion towards conservative,
don't make monolithic remarks or umbrella remarks. Don't make monolithic or umbrella remarks. Don't make monolithic or umbrella remarks. Please.
If you have a natural suspicion
to, hold some of them in suspicion, but it doesn't mean that you can just completely write fiction.
Get the facts straight.
And what's going on behind the scenes.
This right here is a Rorschach test, and you just see into it whatever it is you want. So if you have a natural suspicion towards
seek the truth before you judge. Seek the truth before you judge. Seek the truth before you judge.
So this right here is a Rorschach,
including on the conservative side of things.
I mean,
you're not like completely off base to hold some of them in suspicion, but it doesn't mean that you can just completely write fiction whole cloth about them and what's going on behind the scenes.
This right here is a Rorschach test, and you just see into it whatever it
Mary is cooking. They're both cooking. To be real, to be all the way a buck, they are both cooking. To be all the way a buck.
And talk about being, I mean, I don't know. Does she talk about being trad? Somehow I imagine they don't use that word, right? Because that's part of the hyperbole, right? The hyperbole is putting it into, giving it a name and all of this shit.
Yeah.
So it's a Rorschach test. If you find that movement to be particularly offensive, because you think a lot of them are lying, you will see exactly what this person saw there. But I don't know if I necessarily even buy that this person sees that. I think that what they see most of the time is something that can drive engagement.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter whether they believe it.
Word.
And it's a rage-bait
It is
post
meant to provoke
to men that they should simply never get married ever because all women are irredeemable hoes and like
crazy
proof. And it's not proof of anything.
Words.
And then later in the night, in true clavicular fashion, he got into a physical fight at a nightclub. So that was how he concluded the night. And I guess we'll resume this story in
no control of emotions, no stoicity. This is the opposite of masculine frame or masculinity. To lose control of your emotions. To be fair, I don't know if Clav was fighting in self-defense or he unprovokedly punched or hit somebody. To be fair, but yeah.
Simply never get married ever because all women are irredeemable.
Daddies.
And like this is proof, and it's not proof of anything.
Words.
And then later in the night, in true clavicular fashion, he got into a physical fight at a nightclub.
Unbelievable.
So he concluded the night, and I guess
goofiness.
We'll resume this story in however many days or weeks' time when the next scandal arises.
Yeah, they cooked. They really did. Salutes to Mary Morgan and Brett. Yeah. The dude who does the show with Mary, his name is Brett. Yeah. Salutes to those two. Yeah, man. Yeah, this. Yeah, bro. I get what the critics are saying. Brett was talking heavy when she was discussing Clav on her show. She was talking really heavy when she was discussing this dude on her show and on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show. She was talking heavy on her show and on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show. Yes. Yes, yeah. I, I agree with her critical remarks. I do agree with her critical remarks pertaining to Clav. Um, yeah, I really do. Um, but you 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 can't talk heavy on your show, then smile in his face when you see him. Um, this isn't me saying she is this isn't me saying Brett Cooper was being fake. No, she wasn't being fake. She was being wise. She was being prudent. She didn't want to cause a scene or um, look like a whole clown. Um, yeah, she yeah, she was being rational. She didn't let emotions dictate. Yes, she did engage in sagaciousness. Yes, she did engage in sagaciousness. Um, but she really didn't have to smile in his face. She could have shown a neutral face or yeah, she didn't have to be mean or rude or um, trashy or anything like that. But yeah, she could have shown a neutral face to keep it all the way a buck. Um, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be you don't have to be crappy, but you shouldn't give these weirdos, these clav simps, and these anti-women blokes the ammunition. You shouldn't give these people the ammunition to say the things they are saying, to say crazy things, to say mendacious things, to say terrible things, this untruthful things. Yeah, don't give these weirdos the ammunition. Don't give these weird people the ammunition. Please don't give these weird people the ammunition. If you do, If you do, you mess up. If you do, you mess up. If you do, you mess up. It is what it is. But yeah, Brett, she's not romantically interested in Clav. She isn't in any way romantically interested in this dude's Clav. So yeah, the people who are going crazy, who are going in on Brett, they have to chill. They have to touch grass, like she said. They have to interact with people in real life. They have to interact. They must interact. They must interact with people in real life. They will be happier. No BS, bro. They will be happier. Yo. This is real talk, yo. This is real talk. Yeah, but I see every side. I see what Brett is saying, what the critics are saying, what the balanced people, the fellow balanced people of mine are saying. I see what everybody is saying. There, certain people from each group. There are, a lot of people across the board have valid points. There are people who don't have valid points also. So, yeah. Let me know what y'all think. If y'all rock with this commentary, hit the like button, comment, share, sub. Trying to get to 10K, 20K, 30K, and beyond. Trying to get to the 100K plaque this year, bro. Let's get me to this milestone. I believe we can do it. Yeah, man.